Hello, this is Carrie Jordan from the Rise Collective, and I help people to achieve their goals and work toward their goals with the help and support of the forces of nature. Today, I'm talking about my most recent blog post, which is about shamanic skills and how we can work with shamanic skills to become mature spiritual adults. I find that this is really an important topic in our world because we have a lot of ancient wisdom that is available to us at all times. And that ancient wisdom comes from a time when we didn't necessarily have all of the modern conveniences and modern ways of living in the world that we have today. And so our challenge with shamanic skills, and I'll explain what they are in a moment, is really to adapt them to our modern contemporary lives and learn how to be in right relationship with the earth, with our communities, with ourselves. And so let's dive into what shamanism is and how we can work with these top 3 fundamental shamanic skills. So first I'll start with what shamanism is. Shamanism is really a way of life, and it exists all over the globe. And in a lot of ways, the indigenous cultures that live by this shamanic lifestyle are very similar. And that's because this way of life came from the earth, right? And we all live on the earth. So that's why this cosmology, this way of viewing life and the world and how things work, that's why it's so similar across so many different cultures. So, like I said, shamanism comes from people learning to live in right relationship with the land. And we've in our contemporary times kind of been disconnected from the earth and from being in right relationship through the Industrial Revolution largely. And it's kind of gone on for many years since the Industrial Revolution. And so we can work with these shamanic skills and a shamanic lifestyle in order to kind of get back to that and reel in the ways that we're being and the ways that we're being in relationship with the earth. We're moving on to part 2. So we've talked about what shamanism is, how it can work for our communities, and now I'm going to jump into what are those basic shamanic skills that every person needs in order to be a mature spiritual adult. A mature spiritual adult is someone who is taking 100% responsibility for his or her life. There are a lot of wounded children running around in adult bodies in this world. And that's because we have lost a lot of these shamanic skills, which would have been second nature in a shamanic society. But in our society, these are things that we learn later in adulthood, and it's like groundbreaking when you learn to set boundaries, or when you learn to not take on the energetics of an entire room. At least it was groundbreaking for me. And one of the best ways I know to learn a lot of these skills is through a training that I'm on staff for called T3. So we're in session right now, but I can post the link to T3 in the comments here. So in traditional cultures, these were second nature. These were taught to children throughout their lives. And I think that there is really a sense of urgency for adults to learn these types of skills, because it can really help you to become, I hate the phrase step into your power, but that it works for what I'm talking about. And I wish I could come up with a snappy, different way of saying it, but it's not coming to me right now. So let's dive into the 3 fundamental shamanic skills that I'm talking about today. The first one is grounding. Grounding is a practice that you need to do for yourself. It's a critical step in being able to discern the truth and the reality of life, to be in your body, to be on this physical plane on this earth. It's a very simple daily practice that can support you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and it's so easy. All you have to do is go outside and put your bare feet on the ground, or lay in the grass, or just enjoy being on the earth. And the reason why this is so helpful is there's a lot of scientific evidence. There's 21 published peer-reviewed studies on the benefits of grounding. And in the article that I wrote, that I'll link to in the comments, I put a video about the science of grounding. So it can help you shift patterns. It can help you move energies and what I call composting, giving back to the earth to compost things that aren't working for you. And what's happening is when you sit on the earth, you're gathering electrons, and it can actually help heal inflammation in the body. So while you're at it, just be in your body, try stretching and seeing what you smell and what you see and what you're hearing. Are there birds in the distance? And just feeling what it's like to be on the earth in this body. The next shamanic skill is cleansing and clearing. There is a lot of trauma and energy floating around in our contemporary life. There's a lot of rushing around and go, go, go. And without an energetic clearing practice, we can project our experiences onto the world around us. I wanted to share this quote with you from Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She said, "A wise woman keeps her psychic environment clean." And that, I think, really relates to this shamanic skill of cleansing and clearing. Cleansing and clearing can be about cleansing and clearing withholds that you may have. It can be bringing your full self and sharing your opinion or your truth. And it can also be energetic, clearing ancestral energies, past traumas, inner energies that you've picked up as you moved around the world. And you can work with smudge, smoke, to cleanse some of this. Some of it is taking responsibility for your relational interactions and clearing what doesn't feel quite right between you and another person, coming back into right relationship with another person. You can also cleanse while you're in the shower. You can cleanse through decluttering. You can work with your guides to cleanse energetically through journey work. And I have an article on therisecollective.org about journey work and about smudging. So you can learn any one of those techniques and work with those to start your cleansing and clearing practice. And the final shamanic skill is boundaries. And I could do a whole course on boundaries. So this is going to be a really short tidbit about boundaries. And you can kind of see where you may or may not have boundaries in the places where you silence your needs, or people please, or forget yourself, or the places where you are not respecting someone else's boundaries, or when you're not taking into account someone else's needs or requests. A lack of boundaries can be dangerous to our most precious resources, which are time and energy. So if you are noticing kind of a sap on your time and energy, this is probably a really good place to look. Sometimes it can feel really clunky to start working with your boundaries. And there is a graceful and skillful way to work with your boundaries. That's by being slow, by slowing down. I think that when we move quickly, when we rush through interactions, we can often miss something, like an opportunity to connect, or like a facial expression, a passing facial expression, or a feeling. When you're in relationship about your boundaries with another person, try to slow down those interactions so that you can really be in relationship, and it can be vulnerable. All of these require continuous and consistent practice and work. They don't just come easily. And that is one of the ways that we are in commitment and devotion to our paths here at the Rise Collective. And so if you have any questions about shamanic skills, please reach out. I'd love to talk about them, and I have lots of great book recommendations about shamanic skills if you are interested in that. I also am really excited to share with you that I recently completed a free mini course for you. It's called the Life Design Method mini course, and it is going to help you walk you through the life design method to help you set goals and work with the forces of nature and magic. And it's 3 easy lessons. So you can go to therisecollective.org/LD method and get your free course. Okay, I will see you next Thursday.